quick review of the steps that we follow when we are factoring. So whenever we factor, what's the first thing that we always take out, if there is one? Very good. So we always factor out that GCF for step 1, right? Okay, and then once we have factored out the GCF, we have to identify 2 things in the equation. What do we look for? What are those 2 numbers that we look at? Sum and product. Very good. And your sum is always that middle term, right? The one that has an x with it, while your product is the constant, the number at the end that doesn't have any variable with it, right? Okay? And then we find the factors. The factors have to give us the product that adds up to our sum, right? So they're going to multiply to give us that product that we picked, or that last number in the equation that we picked, but they also have to add to give us that middle number, right? And if they're going to do both, then we figure out there's only one correct combination, all right? And then we write those in our parentheses, right? And if you had a GCF, make sure you put that right out in front of your parentheses. Okay, so let's do a couple of practice ones together. On number 1, do you guys see a GCF here? What is it? Okay, so GCF is 3. That means I'm going to divide all of these by 3, right? Okay, so if I take 3 out of 3y squared, what's left? Good. And if we divide negative 39 by 3, what's left? Good. Negative 13y. And then negative 90 divided by 3? Negative 30. Good. All right. So you guys said after we take care of the GCF, we then have to identify the sum and the product. So what's our sum for this one? Very good. And what's our product? Nice. All right. So I need it to multiply to give us negative 30, but also add to give us negative 13. Okay, so 3 times 10 would give me 30, but you said negative 3 and positive 10, right? Okay, well, negative 3 plus 10 would give me 7, right? So that's not going to work. What else could we use? If I switch those, then I still am going to just get negative 7. What did we say? 15 and 2. Very good. Okay, so one of those has to be negative. Which one?
No. 2.
It's going to have to be the 15 because we need it to add to give us negative 13. So we need more negatives than positives, right? Okay, so we're going to choose negative 15, positive 2, and we're just going to put those in our parentheses, but don't forget to put that GCF out in front. So 3, and in my parentheses we have y. Our first number was negative 15. Y, and our second number, which was 2. So there are our factors. Okay? All right, let's look at number 2. Any GCF on number 2? Nope, no GCF. Okay, so if there's no GCF, we can go ahead and identify our sum and product. Which number is my sum? Right, the one in the middle is always our sum. And which one's our product? Good, on the end. So it has to multiply to give us positive 2, but add to give us negative 3. So first, what's the only thing that multiplies to give you 2? 1 and 2, right? But I need both of these to add to give me negative 3. So they can't be positives, they're going to have to be, right. Both would be negatives, because a negative times a negative would give me a positive 2. Negative 1 plus negative 2 is negative 2. So we got x minus 1 and x minus 2. All right. Okay. Number 3. Any GCF on number 3? 2. Good. Okay, so we divide by 2. When I divide those two terms by 2, what do we end up left with? Minus
49.
Good. Okay, so here we are. Now I need my sum and my product. Right, there is no sum, no middle number, so must be 0 because it's not there. Okay, and what's my product? Negative 49. Okay. So we got negative 49, got to multiply to give us negative 49, but add to give us 0. Right. So anytime it has to add to give us 0, it's got to be the same number, just one of them positive and one of them negative. All right. So 7 times negative 7 is negative 49, while 7 plus negative 7 gives us 0. Okay, so put your GCF in front. X plus 7 and x minus 7. All right. Okay, what about number 4? Any GCF?
3.
All right, so I'm going to go through and divide all of those terms by 3. If I divide 3c squared by 3, what's left?
C squared.
Good. If we divide negative 6 by 3, what's left? And 15 divided by 3? Good. All right, so we got sum and product. What's my sum? And what's my product? Okay. All right, so there is only one thing that multiplies to give me 5, right? What would that be?
5.
And 1 plus 5, is that going to give me negative 2? What if I make them both negatives? That would still give me positive 5. Does that give me negative 2?
No.
No. But there's nothing else that multiplies to give me 5. It's a whole number, right? We could probably find some decimals, but no whole numbers. So this one is not possible to factor. So if you get to this point and there are no numbers that will multiply to give you this one and add to give you this one, the most you can do is take out your GCF. So you have to stop right there. So this part would be your answer. Took out the GCF, and that's where you're going to have to leave it. Okay? All right, we got a couple more on the back. All right, number 5 says, what are the factors whose product yields this trinomial? Okay, so we're still just looking for the factors. Don't let how they asked it throw you off. They just want you to factor. So in this, what is my GCF? 2 what? 2y. I'm going to pull out 2y from all of these terms. Okay, so what is 2y cubed divided by 2y? Very good. So it becomes y squared. What is 16y squared divided by 2y? 8y, good. And 14y divided by 2y, good. So remember, whenever you divide by a variable, you're taking one of the exponents away, basically. right? We had 3 here, took 1 out, left with 2. Had 2, took 1 out, left with 1. Okay. All right, so now that we have factored out our GCF, what's our sum and product? And what's the only thing that multiplies to give us 7? 5. And what is 1 plus 7? Perfect. So, 2y, parenthesis, y plus 1, parenthesis, y plus 7. So those would be our factors. All right. On this one, identify the expression that represents y squared minus 36 in factored form. So still just factoring. Any GCF here? Okay. So then what is my sum? Zero. There is no sum, right? There's no middle term, so we have to put 0. Okay, and what's my product? Okay, and we said anytime it's supposed to add to give us 0, the numbers we're picking have to be the same, just one positive and one negative, right? So what would we have? Very good. All right, so y plus 6 and y minus 6. Right. Okay, let's look at number 7. It says to express 4a squared plus 16 as a product of factors. So again, still just factoring. Is there a GCF on this one? Good. So GCF is 4. Okay, so if I divide those terms by 4, what are we going to be left with?
E squared.
Okay, so what's my sum? 0, right? What's my product? 4. Okay. So can you think of anything that multiplies to give you positive 4 and adds to give you 0? No, right? Because it's different. Normally we have a negative number right here, and then we pick the same number, right? One of them positive, one of them negative. So I could pick 2 and 2. 2 times 2 gives me 4, but 2 plus 2 does not give me 0. I could make them both negatives. A negative times a negative would give me a positive 4, but if I add them, I'm going to get negative 4. Right? So this one doesn't work. This is another one of those not possible to factor. Okay? So remember, when that comes up, the most you can do is factor out a GCF, which we already did. So this is my answer. Factored out GCF. All right. Number 8, factor the binomial. So again, looking for a GCF. Do we have one? Oh, good. Okay, so I divide both of these terms by 12, and what are we left with? Okay. All right. So what's my sum? And what's my product? Negative 12. Okay. So in order for this to work, we have to have a number that's going to multiply times itself to give me negative 12. 6 times 6 is 12.
Nope.
6 plus 6 is 12, but 6 times 6 won't give us 12. 1 times 12 will give me 12, but will 1 and 12 add to give me 0?
Nope.
So is this one going to work?
No.
Nope. So if it doesn't factor, all you can do is pull out the GCF. So there would be our answer. Okay. Last problem says that a trim carpenter needs to apply crown molding around a rectangular window. The area of the window is shown on the diagram below. Find the perimeter of the window in order for the carpenter to determine the amount of crown molded needed in terms of X. Okay, so they said that the area of the window was shown here. Well, this window is a rectangle. How do you find area of a rectangle? Length times width. Okay. Yeah. So they have it drawn here for us that this window right here has this area. Okay. Like you guys just said, this is how I find area, but they have it all together, right? They already found it. They said that the area was x squared plus 5x minus 6. Well, if I want it written as a length and a width, I need it written as two separate pieces, right? Which is exactly what we've been doing, right? Factoring into two parentheses. So we would factor this right here. Is there any GCF? Nope. Okay, so here's my sum. Here's my product. What multiplies to give us -6 and adds to give us +5? Very good. Right, adds to give us +5, multiplies to give us -6. So in our parenthesis, we got x minus 1, x plus 6. All right, so we found the factors, but they said they want us to find the perimeter. Well, how do you find the perimeter of a rectangle? Right. Okay, so we could say that this one is the length and this one is the width. Well, how many lengths does a rectangle have? 2. How many widths does a rectangle have? Okay, so when I'm finding the perimeter, I'm going to have 2 of the x minus 1s, right? Plus 2 of the x plus 6s. And like you guys said, we want to add it all up, but first I'm going to have to distribute, right? So I distribute my 2 into this parenthesis. What is 2 times x?
2x.
And 2 times -1. Very good. And over here we got 2 times x and 2 times 6. Any like terms we can combine here?
2x.
Uh-huh. Which gives me
4x.
what else?
-2 and 12.
Very good. So the perimeter of this rectangle is 4x plus 10. All right. All right, I'm going to go ahead and bring you your practice for this. Like I said, if you haven't turned in day 1 or day 2, make sure you get those in the box as well. And when you finish this one, turn it in 2.
Find a number.